How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about political oppression, in particular, my interactions with Coventry Police here in Rhode Island. So, as many of you probably already know and probably have seen and supported, May Coventry Police Department celebrated Mental Health Awareness Month. By the end of the video, we're going to get to relate this kind of post to, for example, after the BLM movement, you saw all the cops wearing the BLM bracelet, right? Pretending like, not me, right? Because that's the generation that we're in right now, right? The generation of not me, right? And as well as the little, the rainbow pins that you'd be seeing them wear to support pride and, everything else, because they didn't want to get on the negative side of these movements. And that's exactly what it is, right? It's a step to the left. Let's get out ahead of the problem. We know that other departments are oppressing the mentally ill right now. We know that after the BLM movements, that the mentally ill are the last ones in America without a voice, right? The ones that we don't get heard. We can repeat us. I have these reoccurring nightmares of police interactions and that an injustice is happening and that I have no voice, like a man with laryngitis, right? A simple breeze can drown out my voice. And because of that, I end up on the negative side of whatever interactions, right? Because I can't defend myself. And I'll wake up in sweats, and shit like that, part of my PTSD. But it's situations like we're going to talk about today that create that PTSD and those reoccurring nightmares, right? In situations like that. So a lot of you guys know exactly a month ago today. So it was May 10th, just before midnight. I was swatting on Twitch. Police responded to my house on a false mental health call about a potential duodide, right? Rhymes with duodide, right? Which they didn't do anything wrong at that. They responded appropriately, right? They got a call. They heard that word and they responded appropriately, right? And we've discussed in our other videos how the person that made the prank call, the person that placed the false information in, is the one responsible. We even related it to that of a B0MB threat in one of our other videos and how this can correlate, right? So, you guys probably saw in one of my last videos, and I had posted up talking about, this thing happens and you're taught as a kid to go to mom, you're taught as an adult to go to the police. And I had, responded, I called them back, the police came, said that they thought it was an emergency. And I was like, no, I don't know what you're talking about, right? And right when they left, it dawned on me. I was like, oh, I know how this happened. And I started plugging into it and I started doing my phone calls, started making my complaints, gathering my evidence right then and there that night. So there's a screenshot from today's call log. You're going to see right at the top, it's going to say today, and the call log goes out to Coventry PD. So I had called today because I was told on Friday to call back today, right? That prosecution wasn't going to be there on Friday. They coincidentally weren't there on Friday either, right? So this is one of their tactics, right? In pushing you off, right? Oh, you got to call back in 2 days. Call back the first Tuesday of next month. You see what I mean? Shit like that, right? So either way, though, I finally get a hold of prosecution, and prosecution says that they got no evidence down there, right? They got a log from 6/3 that says that I was there exactly a week ago, and it says that no evidence was submitted and that the case was dropped already. I dropped off a book of screenshots and printed out definitions, cases, everything. My case is right here. This copy is for the court, right? That's coming up on what, the 24th or the 23rd, right? In family court. I made 3 copies of this. Like, do they really think that this is my only printed copy? They're going to throw it away and it just fucking disappears? You know what I mean? They even asked us to put these here videos. I made them aware of these here videos. They asked for a copy of them. So we went down to Walmart. We bought a zip disk flash SD card thing. We put all these videos on the SD card. We went down there, dropped it off at the police station. And apparently that's lost as well, right? But you're going to see, though, the fact that it's lost, right? And I can say it like that because it's just another one of their tactics, right? And they're going to claim ignorance. They're going to claim it was an accident. They're going to claim all this other crap, right? But for the past month, you're going to see, if you look down, this is actual, I didn't even scribble out any of my personal friends, right? Because it doesn't put up their phone number. So, but either way, this is my actual screenshots of my actual call log. And you're going to see I got what? 2 friends on this call log. All the rest of these phone numbers are legal departments here in Rhode Island that I've been getting the buck passed around. Oh, you got to call the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Oh, you got to go to Kent County Family Courthouse. Oh, you got to go here. You got to go there. You got to go anywhere else but us. See what I'm saying? Right? And that's the butt of the joke, right? We're going to go down. There's my wife, right? A friend. But you're going to see there's more Rhode Island departments, right? As we scroll down, there's even more, right? Now you think, and if you look by the check marks, I've called these numbers numerous times. How long have I spent on the phone with each one of these people, right? How much tax money is being just thrown out the window to evade taking my report, right? How much of my personal time, my personal business, once again, right? This is how they get fucking, this is how I've lost the other ones, right? People are negative, right? And, don't do business with him. As the screenshots show before, don't befriend him. He's got AIDS. He's a kidnapper, anything else, right? And then you go and try to defend yourself. You go and try to look for help. And this is the kind of help that you get, right? And you're taking days out of work to go to court, right? I was there. What was it? It was the 3rd, I think, or the 2nd. I think it was the 3rd that I was there, right? And the court just didn't subpoena my sister, right? They just forgot to send it out. Well, that's great, right? It just comes out of the buck of me. You see what I mean? Right? And I'm not some hedge fund kid with some trust fund, right? I got a small business, right? I bought my house that needed a remodel. It was a move-in ready gut job. And even at that, even though I can't afford to, you still see me out there donating, right? And donating more than I pull in. You see what I'm saying? Right? And this is the support that you get, right? This has been going back. You see what I mean? I've been doing everything in my power to do my due diligence, right? In my past, all they would do is make one phone call and point their finger with no evidence and go, he was being a jerk, and we had to have Rick restrain him. Was he being a jerk, or were you guys harassing him after you forced him to go to the doctors, right? The mental health doctor. You see what I mean? Right? But that's all it took, though, was the point of the finger, and boom, I'm in jail. Right? But yet, this just gets thrown away. It gets lost. Right? No evidence, apparently. Right? When the judge looks and subpoenas that, right? They're going to laugh. And they're going to be like, what? And I got my witness right there. We're going to be right on the cameras in the Coventry Police Station. We're going to go right into the back room with Lieutenant Nelson. Right? And I've talked to, just about this particular case, I've talked to Lieutenant Nelson. I've talked to Fernandez. I've talked to McCoy. I've talked to Duluth, Officer 38. It starts with a D. D'Souza or something like that. You see what I mean? My case is well known in their police department. I personally have talked to enough of their officers that I personally have firsthand told my story to pretty much all of them. You know what I mean? They know, they're well aware. They're well aware of what's going on. Right? They just decide, back it. And why? When you have this much supporting evidence, right? When I have people that are witnesses willing to come forward, people that took me in and raised me, people that have watched it for years, watched this onslaught, people that have received these kinds of messages that are in these printouts right here, right? Talking about that I have AIDS and everything else, right? And they're just going to get dismissed. And that's apparently where it stands right now, right? A month later, prosecution, right? We're finally talking to prosecution a month later. And they got no knowledge, right? They got no knowledge. Meanwhile, all these videos that I'm making right now, the motivation behind them is I'm not taking this anymore, right? I'm not taking it on my back. I'm not taking the abuse from my family. I'm not taking the neglect and the, what would you call that? Negligence from the police because, there's a buddy of political power or a motorcycle club, which we'll talk about in other videos now. Apparently we have to, that is more than likely involved right out of Tiverton, right? See what I mean? And this is going down right to the date of where it happened. This is the first screenshot that I pulled up when we first started the video, right? Emails have even been sent to the chief. I talked to John, the representative, about it, and I know exactly what you're talking about. Give me a call, right? This guy was awesome. Right, helping me out with email to the chief. Email to the chief went out on Friday. I've always been taught that professional response time, to give 48 hours, 48 business hours. See what I'm saying? So he had all day Friday, all day Monday. So that's 2 business days. We gave him the time, the adequate time to professionally respond. He decided not to. Today, I talked to Officer McCoy on the phone. Officer McCoy confirmed that the chief did, in fact, get the email. Why not respond? Right? For the same reason that Kayla can't say too much right now. Nobody knows what their official story is going to be yet. They got to get their stories straight, right? And they got to talk about people like Dispatcher Lee, or at least he identified as Lee, who wanted to argue with me about the definition of swatting, which was one of their deflection tactics as well, right? And now, just like my family, so this is what I'm up against. I'm against departments or people of power who need to get their stories straight. You see what I'm saying? And I'm just little old Brian in recovery. You know what I mean? Trying to start my little dog treat business, trying to live happy, right? And now we got this freaking political shitstorm minefield, right? Working out, which sadly, it's going to end up being that I'm going to end up just evading Coventry like they have done to me and be like, okay, that's it. I'm done with you guys. And I'm going to take it to Boston Federal, right? I'm no longer going after my sister for harassing me. No, that's small fish, small potatoes nowadays, right? I'm going after you guys for your negligence, right? And if you tell them this, they're going to laugh, right? Because not only do they know they got their unions to protect them and everything else, but if I sue the department, I'm not suing him personally, right? As they say, you don't shit where you sleep. So is it probable that the officers acting this way don't even live in Coventry? Yeah, it's probable. So if Coventry Police Department gets sued, right, where's that money come from? It comes from us, the people of Coventry, right? So I might as well just be suing myself into a higher tax rate. You see what I mean? So they think it's funny, right? And that's what you get out of them, right? And you get this runaround, you get this crap. Let's wear our BLM bracelets. And now that we're caught, let's wear the bracelets, right? And shit like this. You know what I mean? Sending constantly. If you just look at like these emails, right? This is to one officer, right? And with the screenshots attached that are in here and stuff like that, they got the evidence. And look at the dates on them, right? What's that first one say? May 16th, right? 3 weeks ago. And it took me like a week almost to get, okay, you send us an email with the evidence, right? It took like a week to get there, right? So I really hope that the ACLU sees this. Later on in my later videos, we're also going to be talking about, recovery over recidivism and my movement idea on that, and how, these officers are killing the motivation for it, right? And, as a man in recovery, that the judicial system got clean, I always Judge Hastings and Judge Nugent, right? I'm $1 million baby to the state. You would think that during a mental health awareness month and stuff like this, that they would want to protect that investment, right? They would want to see the recovery rate climb over 2% here in Rhode Island, right? 98% of us die with the disease. And why? Why do we feel hopeless and shit all the time, right? Because once a junkie, always a junkie, apparently, at least dictated by the police, right? And town council, apparently, right? It's a bunch of shit, right? So I really hope, in a way, I hope that they continue to blow me off. We have the finances right now to pursue it legally. So, and it's not really about the money. It's about the change. You see what I mean? Like, if we pursued it legally, we would be losing money, right? But with no guarantee of getting anything back. It's about the change. Just because I have PTSD, that doesn't affect my memory. That doesn't mean that I am, on the short bus or whatever, because I have PTSD, right? And that's the way that they want to treat you. They want to treat, because you have a diagnosis, that means that you're dedarted. That means that you are subhuman, you are defective, right? And all this other crap, right? And we will continue to be defective as long as this happens, right? I only need, to talk to PTSD counselors and shit like that because of officers like this to begin with. You see what I mean? They are the root and cause of my PTSD. But now PTSD, as well as substance abuse, mental illness, it's this big business for them, right? Because if you look, almost everybody that's suffering with substance abuse is dual diagnosed, right? So they understand the correlation between mental health and substance abuse, aka self-medicating, right? And they know that every time that they get an arrest for drugs, even if there's no conviction, they get federal recognition for that. They get, it goes towards, they get more federal narcotics funding. You see what I'm saying? To fight their narcotics problem, since they have so many narcotics arrests, right? And if you look it up, that is how that works, right? So we are cattle to them. We are job security, right? We are to be laughed at. Now, imagine if you had a farmer that was watching a cow in misery and he was laughing at it, you would say that he's an unfit farmer, right? And that animal control, animal services should be called in, right? And just like that documentary they had on the soda company's farm there, right? When they were abusing all the animals and they're laughing at it and shit like this, right? And this is the equivalent, right? I'm the cattle. They're the abusive farmer, right? They're in control. I have no voice. All I got is a meh, meh. That doesn't articulate what's happening to me. That doesn't articulate my mental health. And that's exactly where they want me, right? And that's why evidence will continue to go missing, right? So Coventry Police, if you guys are watching this video right now, I am not going to resubmit that evidence. You guys got it. You guys got the SD card. I'm not paying another penny to print shit, take time out of work, nothing, right? So if that's something that you guys have to take up with a judge somewhere, then that's your own problem. It's not my problem. That's a decision that your officers made to dismiss evidences or not push it to prosecution or dick me off for a month. And now you guys are where you guys are now because of the professionalism of the people that you particularly hired, that I pay. You see how that works, right? So I understand, right? It's easy to gamble with someone else's money, right? Political oppression. Hey, everybody. Thank you for watching. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.